Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday here in Melbourne. And yes, it is the lockdown edition over here. And of course, we're going to another location in the country that's also in lockdown at the moment, because that's up in Sydney, and especially for the AFL Sydney Premier League women's competition. Unfortunately, that has come to a pause at the moment. They haven't played since the end of June, of course, for the Premier League division in the women's side of things, and for the Inner West Magpies to be hoping to get back on the field once they're out of lockdown, hopefully at the end of this month. And, of course, we've got a very special guest joining us right now from the Magpies to tell us a bit about how it's been like the last 5.5 weeks in lockdown and what the team has been doing to hopefully have a chance to get back on the field again in 2021. Joins us right now. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, so I'm Maddie, play for the Inner West Magpies. Can't really do much in this lockdown, but I guess we're all just trying to get out, kick the footy around, have some fun, keep up our fitness. We have a Zoom sesh 3 days a week for a gym workout just to get that upper body strength and maintain it for when we hopefully do get back playing AFL, which I'm not too sure at the moment, but hopefully it is still a possibility.
As I mentioned in the intro, the last game was the third last week of June. Tell us, how was the season going up to that point?
We actually might have finished the season off with a pretty big bang. We ended up beating the team that we have never won against before. It was Manly, and we lost to them in the grand final last year.
That's right.
Devastating loss, but we ended up coming back in round one of the season, lost to them again, and we versed them just before we went back into lockdown and ended up beating them by 19 points, which is very good for our team. We deserved it.
So tell us a bit about the game, if you can remember it from a month and a half ago, and how good was it when the final siren went and you got the job done and got a little bit of revenge on the Wolves?
Well, we kind of went into the game just with an upbeat feeling, kind of just wanting to win. We had that hunger to take back what was ours, and we did. And when that final siren went, when I looked around to see the smiles on all my team's face, it was actually an amazing moment. Just seeing them all smiling and screaming, we're running up and jumping on each other. It was pretty good. And to look over at the coach, he was pretty stoked with the win as well. So that was a very good thing for us. Did you
ever thought when you sung your team song back in the third week of June, that after that game against the Wolves, that 6 weeks later, almost 6 weeks later, you still haven't played?
No, we had no idea that was going to be possibly our last game for the season. If it is, I'd be pretty happy to walk away with that win, but I hope it's not. We want to play in the finals and take it on and hopefully win and take back what was ours last year. We're sitting third in the ladder right now, so if we do go back, we're looking pretty good for a flag. But yeah.
So, kind of, as you mentioned, sitting pretty nicely in the top half of the ladder at this stage. Is there a particular game other than the Wolves was the turning point of the season to get yourselves back to where you are now, considering of the heartbreak that you had to endure in that grand final against the Wolves last year?
We started the season off a little rough because we had 10 new players that we've never played with before. We've had a pretty different team this year, just with people coming in from different teams and different comps. So some people from Wollongong, some people from different teams that we versed last year. So it was very hard for us all to kind of click on the first game. We ended up clicking by round, I think it was 3 or 4, and we kind of just won. We just kept winning. There was one team that we could just never beat so far, and that was East Coast Eagles. They're a pretty strong team. They're sitting first in the ladder. We were hoping to verse them again. We were actually supposed to verse them the weekend that we went into lockdown. We were supposed to verse East Coast Eagles. Pretty happy we didn't have to verse them, but I reckon if we did, we would have held up a good fight. But I reckon we were sitting pretty well from about round 3 or 4 of the season when we just decided to click as a team.
So tell us a couple of players in your team that's had a great season so far, and you can't include yourself.
Oh, that's fine. I won't include myself. No need to ask me. Nah, my team is pretty good. We have a good bunch of skill and talent in our team all round. We had this new girl, Tanya. She came in first year of footy. A couple of her friends brought her over, and she was a standout. Like, she's just, so we refer to her as the bull of our team. She just wrecking balls people out of her way. She sees the ball, she gets the ball. There's also our amazing forward. You might know her, Rebecca Privatelli. She's a superstar. Just the marks in the air. It motivates me to be a better player. Honestly, like, she's insane. Just the way she marks the ball and can just hold her space in the forward line. And also, she's another girl from the Giants, actually two girls from the Giants that I also look up to is Emily Pease. She's a young one. I don't know if you've heard of her. I don't think she's played a game in the Giants yet. Hopefully this year she will. But just her power through the ball is amazing. And like, she was probably our best player towards the end of the season. Before we went into lockdown, she was probably the best in our last 3 or 4 games. And our backline and midfield superstar is Erin Todd. She's amazing. She just, I don't know, just the mongrel about her, just how she sees the ball, gets the ball, and she just goes through anyone. She never gives up, and she motivates everyone to try to bring the whole team up, which is really good.
Tell us a bit about your coaches there at Inner West Magpies.
I don't know if you know, but the coach is actually my dad. He is my hardest critic personally on me. Like, everyone always says it, like when he says something to me like, Maddie, don't get down, like, he's your dad, he's just doing it to be like hard on you because he knows that you can do better. But overall, I think he's done really well for our club. He's been coaching, this was his 3rd year coaching, I'm pretty sure. He kind of just picked up the team and drove us to where we are now. Without him, I don't think we would be anywhere near as a good team as we are right now. Everyone just respects him and just has trust in him that he will get us through the week and to that game on Saturday. And they know that we will possibly get a win with him as our coach, which is pretty good to know. We also have Christian Specker, who is the assistant coach. He helps my dad. He helps my dad with the games. They're really good friends, so they really click really well. He also plays himself, so he's not at some of the trainings, but he is at every game, and I look up to him as a big brother. He is always there for me and always picks me up, and he picks up the rest of the team. As I said, we all have faith in both our coaches to get us to where we need to be, if it's to the end through a game every single quarter, or if it's all the way to the end where we win a flag. So
obviously you mentioned that your dad coaches. How's the conversation been like at home on, like, in the lead up to game day?
He's always asking me, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you pumped? Always for a game. And I'm just sitting there like, yes, I'm nervous, but I'm good. The talk around footy, because I have a older sister and a younger brother, they get sick of the footy talk. I think every time we're at dinner, my dad and I are just always rambling on about footy whenever the chance we get. It's all we talk about. It's really good though. I don't know, he pushes me to the best and wants to get the best out of me, and I feel like that's really good. Sometimes it's a lot of pressure, but I put that on myself. But he's always been good to me and guides me in the right way, I guess.
The AFL Draft happened last week. Did any of your teammates there got drafted?
Yes. So Erin Todd got drafted last year, and then she got delisted at the end of the season, but then she got redrafted again for the end of this year to next year, which was really good. She deserves it. So, but we also have 2 other Giants players in our team as well. So it's good playing with them and around them. It kind of brings the whole team up to their level, which is really good. And I'm very proud of all 3 of them to get to that level and reach their goals.
Is that something you're dreaming to do, Maddie?
Yes, it is. I have always dreamed ever since I started playing footy when I was, 14, 15. So not that long ago, but I have seen the girls on TV and even the men on TV has really like kind of put that goal into perspective. And I want to get to that level. If it's next year, if it's in 5 years, I just want to get to that level. And I'm constantly pushing myself to better me as a player and as a person to hopefully one day get there.
Well, we'll definitely be cheering for you. Hopefully you do get there to AFLW. Now, how did you get involved in the sport of footy and why did you choose it?
Well, I played a lot of sports in my life, all different ones. Probably don't even look like most of, when you look like a person that plays sport. I've done so many different sports. I don't know why, but I did, and played netball. And my brother and dad are really into AFL. And one day he was like, "Do you want to play AFL?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'd be any good at it." And he's like, I know a couple of people down at West Magpies come down and try out a youth girls training. So I went down there and I loved it. Played my first game and I was like, this is so much better than netball. So I was like, I don't want to give up netball yet. So I played both. But then last year I decided that I don't want to play netball anymore. I want to focus on footy. I want to make a career out of it. So I kind of just put my mind at footy and haven't stopped since.
So after you gave up netball, have you tried to lure some of your former netball teammates to come and play football?
I had this one girl that I was really close with in the team that was like, I want to play footy, but then she was like, I don't want to get injured, because she got injured in a school comp that we played, because I went to school with her. She got injured in a school comp, and then she's like, I don't want to play anymore. So I was really close to getting her. But I did get another girl that I played netball with for 1 year, and she played under 18s with me for 2 years, but then she decided it wasn't for her. So I haven't carried any of my netball friends all the way through to nowadays, but hopefully I can get some other people involved.
Now, what position do you play on the field? And if you had a preferred position where you like to convince your dad to put you, where would that be?
I played a lot of positions, but my most preferred positions so I've played forward, so I like centre half forward or forward flank. But this year, or end of last year, my dad decided to try me out on the wing. I don't want to refer to him as dad. Coach. The coach tried to put me on the wing and see how I go with that. And I actually really enjoyed it. I love running up and down the wing and having all that space. So ever since the end of last year when we entered finals, that has been my most preferred position, and I don't really want to try out any other position. I've actually asked my dad, my coach, how do you reckon I'd go in the midfield? And he goes, wing's your position. He goes, I reckon you'd be good in the midfield, but I think forward and wing are your position. I feel like he knows what I'm good at, and because he's watched me play since I was 14. So but no, I really enjoy playing on the wing.
So considering you're playing on the wing, you were forward, do you still swing into the forward line and just kick some big goals?
I actually haven't kicked a goal on the wing yet. I've been very close to. I think I got a girl on the forward line, Jordan. She got a mark, took a mark, and I ran past, got the handball off her, about 40 out, kicked it, and it was touched on the line. That was very disheartening for me, but I was very proud that I kicked really straight into the goals, but unfortunately it was touched on the line. I want to get a goal on the wing, but I'm not going to ruin the structure just because I want to get a goal, but I will help out. I will run my kind of role as a winger. Both the wingers in our team are to help out in the forward line if needed, but don't go in to crowd it. So if you see someone that's there too far out of their range and no one's moving for them, you can provide an option, but if it's not on, don't go in. That's kind of the advice we've been given, which is good. It's good instruction, but a goal would be nice.
Now, what does the sport of football mean to you, and especially being there in the West Magpies?
AFL to me, I love the sport. It's very good. I feel like Inner West Magpies has one of the best positive cultures as a club in the league or in our region. I feel like we just accept anyone. We all get along. We're not only really close on the field, we're also close out off the field, which I feel like is really important for a club. I stand by the quote, there's no I in team. You can't win a flag without your team by your side. And I feel like that's very important for everyone to know. And I also do honestly consider Western Suburbs women's team as a family to me. They've always been there. And yeah, we just stand by each other no matter what.
Now, what would be your advice to people that should get involved in footy, especially down there in the West Magpies, once you eventually get out of lockdown?
I feel like my advice for someone trying to get into footy would be, if you see something that you want, nothing can stop you from achieving it. You just got to put in the hard work and be resilient to what you want. Any club will accept anyone coming in, and I feel like you just got to branch yourself out of your comfort zone to get involved in something new.
Now, let's finish on a couple light-hearted questions about your teammates. Now, I know the first one might be a little bit difficult for the fact that you have the team hasn't played in about 6 weeks, but who had the most embarrassing moments on the field this season, and what was it?
There's been a couple of Falcons in the game. Oh, yes, I got one. I have one. So the other winger, she was running down the side towards our goal, and she kicked the ball and she absolutely shanked it, and her shoe went flying and hit another girl in the head, which I found that really funny and embarrassing for her because her shoe went flying. But I don't know if that's embarrassing. I just found that really funny. It was very funny. And then she was like running around with no shoe on.
I have to ask this as a follow-up. So the shoe where it landed, obviously you mentioned hit someone else in the head. Was it one of your players or the opposition players?
I don't know, just hit someone in the head. I think it was the opposition. It wasn't like on the head like this. It was like just skimmed past her head or something, but it was pretty funny. It was because I was like across, I was on the other wing and I was just watching and I was like, that's a shoe. And I was like, what? It was really funny.
I don't think I've actually had that answer before so far. So that's a first.
Inner West Magpies is unique.
Okay, well, let's see how we go with this next three then. Is there any comedians, the best singer and the best dancer on the team we should know about?
We have a really funny person in our team. Well, she's a part of our like women's club. She plays in Div 2. She played Prems last year. You might not know her. It's she goes by Mickey at our club, but she's just funny. She has the best dad jokes. Like everyone loves her. She makes a joke out of everything. She's just hilarious. She's my favorite person to joke with. The Irish girls, they are so funny. We have 4 of them in our team and they are hilarious. So Jordan and Tanya and Leanne always sing when the speaker's on in the change room. They're the ones that always sing. They might not be the best singers, but they sing a lot. They sing a lot.
Is anyone on your team into their TikToks?
Us young girls. There's 3 of us. We used to make TikToks all the time. We don't do it as much. We used to do it at training, but there's like Ella, Freya, Barry, and myself. We're all the youngest in the team. We're all like 16 to 18 years old, and yeah, we do like our social media and our TikToks.
Okay, so my next question is: have you tried to lure the team to do a TikTok dance?
We haven't yet. That's a really good idea.
Oh,
I'm going to pop that in the chat when I get off this. And I'm going to say, guys, we have to make a team TikTok.
I'm claiming that one, by the way. So
I'll put it all over social media so everyone can see it.
Now, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Not me personally. I kind of just wake up in the morning and get ready for footy. I don't really do anything that kind of counts as superstition. But I guess for the team, we never go a game without the speaker playing in the change room. So I guess the music is kind of like our superstition. If we don't play it, we might not play well. I don't know. It's always playing. So I guess we'll never try it without the music.
So who's the responsible one to bring the speakers? And do you actually have a name for a speaker? Because I'm finding now with other football clubs, they actually name their speakers.
I've never heard of that. That's another really good idea. No, we do not have a name for our speaker. We don't have a name for our speaker, but the person that brings a speaker every week is our captain, Jill. So she brings a speaker every week and pumps the tunes. We have a team Spotify playlist that we all put songs on. So you get a bit of everything in that music. So it's good.
So what's the most hated song on that Spotify list?
To be honest, I'm hardly listening to the music. I'm too focused on the game. But
Fair enough.
no, because it's different volumes. Like it just changes because when the coach comes in, gets turned down, or when it's playing, I'm outside kicking the ball, or I'm getting my ankle strapped. So I don't really have a hated song. I kind of like all songs.
Does the team have a fine system? And if so, what's the craziest fine that's ever been given out? And have you been fined if there's a fine system?
We have a fine system. We do. We were more strict with it last year. This year, I don't know who we're actually giving the money to be honest. Season. But I don't know, I don't really pay attention to anyone else's fines. But I have received 2. One for getting hit in the face while running. Playing footy. So the ball, I went to catch it, but I caught it with my face instead. So I went like this, and the ball hit me in the face and fell into my hands. And the other one was having the coach as your daughter. Sometimes the coach as your dad. Sometimes he's away and I have to bring the footies to training, and I live about half an hour away from training. So I ended up driving all the way to training and realizing that I had left the footies at home. So we couldn't train with them. So I had to drive all the way back home and all the way back to training. So I received a fine, 1 for being late and 2 for getting the footies and having to drive about an hour to get to training.
I was gonna say you were a bit stiff on the the face getting Falcon. You got a bit stiff on that one. I thought.
That one's just a little bit of a laugh. They're not expensive fines. They're like maybe $5. Like it's not that bad.
We'll finish up this one last one for everyone. Once you're out of lockdown, that should get involved down there with the Magpies. Whereabouts is your home ground?
Well, our home ground for the club is at Picken Oval in Croydon Park, but the women, we train at Wagner Oval in Ashfield, which is like a 2-minute drive from Picken. But if you're asking for the home ground that we play at, it's at Picken Oval in Croydon Park. Good ground.
It is. I have been to Picken Park, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But Maddie, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that you get a season at least, or at least finish it off once you're out of lockdown at the end of August. And we send our best wishes to everyone down there, up there in Sydney, and let's hope you at least get a season, or at least finish it off with finals. If it comes to just playing finals in the month of September.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so. I hope we get a season, end of the season back as well, and hopefully we can take back that premiership that we got robbed of last year. But we'll have to wait and see. But thank you so much for having me on it today.
No worries. And that's Maddie there, joins from the Inner West Magpies women's football team. Of course, if you want to get involved down there at the Inner West Magpies, once they're out of lockdown, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can get down there and have a go in the sport of footy. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year edition.